Hey guys, what is up? Tigertron D27 here, and today this is going to be a bit of a different video, as opposed to a figure review. This is going to be a sort of series review. Now, for those of you who don't know, Kingdom from the War for Cybertron trilogy is actually based off a 90s Transformers TV show called Transformers Beast Wars. And it was a really great show. I loved it. Lots of people really loved it. Now, a lot of the designs here, whoops. I recently just did a binge here of Beast Wars, and I was able to, reacquaint myself with everything. So, I brought you this video as a kind of a precursor to Kingdom. Now, I'm sorry about all the, me posting so late. I haven't been keeping with my schedule. I had some family stuff to attend to on Monday, and then my, 2 weeks ago, and then my sister, her husband, and my niece came over last Monday, and I tried to, remake some. Try to recreate some of the stuff I'm trying to do here right now, and a lot of the footage got lost, and I kept getting interrupted and all that. Family of six siblings, not six total, 6 siblings. There's 8 of us. Please help me. So yeah. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's get on with the video. Beast Wars is a continuation of G1. Now, G1 occurred in the 80s, this is in the 90s, and it was able to pick up on the time difference, as this is set in the future. How far in the future, I don't know. It could be thousands, could be millions of years. But what we do know is that the Autobots won the war. And after winning the war, some stuff happened, and they had to reduce their size to conserve energy. And so they, shrunk down. That's why you're able to see they fit inside the, parameters of, like dinosaurs and, tigers and all that. But, this isn't really do justice. They aren't really the size of bees. The bees and spiders and scorpions are all kind of upscaled. Same with the ant here. Now, for those of you who don't know, this is the Predacons. Predacons are descendants of Decepticons, and Maximals are descendants of, the descendants of Autobots. Now, this series had up to 3 seasons, I think. My wording is not doing great today. Anyway, Beast Wars had 3 seasons, and it was a really great show. I just cannot emphasize that enough. Great continuation of G1. It's not the continuation like they had in Japan. I'm not talking about Headmasters with their season 4. I'm talking about, Transformers Victory and whatever they had after that. All kinds of stuff. Star Saber. Beast Wars is kind of like our American version of that. So, Maximals. They are the descendants of Autobots. And they had this thing, 2 things really, called Golden Discs. Now, the Golden Discs were these special prophecy types things. I don't really know much about them. The series didn't really explain a lot. It kind of just said, hey, here these things are. They're important. Remember that type thing. They didn't go too into depth about it. So, what we do know is that they had recorded history on them. And Megatron, the original Megatron, yes, this Megatron This is Megatron, yeah. So this Megatron took inspiration from the original Megatron. Anyway, so the original Megatron inscribed some sort of secret message on these golden discs, and the Beast Wars Megatron here found out about it. The message was a failsafe. In case the Decepticons were to lose the Great War, which they inevitably did, then any Decepticon descendants were to find a way to travel back in time and distort the future, find a way to make sure that the Decepticons win. And so that was Megatron's plan. And trying to get too confused here. This is, two Megatrons. I know it's going to get confusing, but bear with me. Anyway, Megatron went and he went back. He went and stole the golden discs to find out more, and he was able to recruit a crew consisting of Dinobot, Waspinator, Pterosaur, Scorponok, and Tarantulas. Altogether, that's 6 of them. And the Maximals, once they found out about this plot and after they stole the golden discs, they were able to send a sort of exploration crew to intercept them. While this exploration crew may not be the best, it's still something. Now, there was a bit of a battle. It kind of repeated with G1, where battle in space, they crashed landing on Earth. Prehistoric Earth, because they time traveled. But the thing is, though, Dinobot, it's this guy right here, he didn't think they landed on the right right planet, because there was 2 moons. And he thought Megatron screwed up. They just wasted all of that for nothing. The golden discs were a dud. Everything failed. And so he challenged Megatron trial by combat for leadership of the Predacons. And, he failed. Not miserably, just Megatron had Scorponok here. Again, not to be confused with the G1 Scorponok. He had him fire a missile at him and it sent Dinobot flying. Now, after this, he later defected to the Maximals. And several filler episodes later, you introduce some new characters such as Tigertron and Air Razor, and then there's Black Arachnia and Inferno. They don't really have... They are not really important. At least not yet, anyway. So, they, go through, and Tigertron, he is a lone wolf, peace-seeking type guy. And, he kind of, like I said, he was a lone wolf, so you see him in one episode where he's at a relay station, and Pterosaur and Waspinator find him, and, they shoot him down off a cliff, and he goes flying. And as opposed to him falling off and dying, instead, he was able to survive. Why? Because he landed on a floating island. What's this floating island? Why is it here? We don't know. Not yet. That's what they're trying to find. What the? Oops. Anyway, but that's what they're trying to find out. They don't know what's going on here. They're exploring. The Maximals send Air Razor to try to retrieve, Tigertron. And they explored this unknown floating island together. And this is the first time where you see something happening between Tigertron and Air Razor. I'll touch more on that in a bit. Anyway, you see them as they explore, and they find, they find more about this floating island, and the Predacons find out about it as well, and they want to exploit its power because, its power. It's a mysterious floating island. They want it for themselves. So they send Scorponok and Black Arachnia. They go to this floating island, and they had confrontations with Air Razor and Tigertron. They soon learn that any energy weapons, once activated, will draw attention to this weird obelisk in the center of the island. It'll pinpoint you on the map. It'll send a beam down, a destructive beam, and it'll incinerate you. Now, none of them died yet, anyway. Yet as to, they didn't die. I mean, we're all gonna die eventually. It's all just a matter of time. I mean, it makes you kind of think, what's the point? Why do we even do this? Anyway, back on track. Help me. They go and, they find this out. They're able to dodge the beam, but the Predacons also find out because they were in the battle too, and Megatron pushes them to control this floating island all the more, and so they do. Inevitably, Black Arachne is able to seize control of this floating island, and she seeks to go destroy the Maximal base. And it led them to destroy this otherwise beautiful island that has been corrupted and taken control of by Black Arachne. I'm just kind of scrolling through photos here. Hopefully we'll stumble across some characters I can pinpoint to you. There's Rat Trap there, Rhinox, Optimus Primal, Dinobot. You can see the shoulder of Cheetor there. Anyway, you see them go about and they have to destroy this island. But once they do, all of a sudden this island sends up another beam. It's not a destructive beam, no. It's a message to some aliens. We don't know what this means. It could mean anything. And that's the first we see of something bigger happening. And several filler episodes later, you find out more. There was the aliens then sent down this little pod shell thing. The Maximals and Predacons form a truce briefly to figure out what's going on. What do these aliens want? What's happening? So they do. And they find out, and then Optimus Primal gets sucked in to this little pod area here. And once that has happened, all bars ahead are not working. All bars ahead are held back. Then the Maximals and Predacons start fighting again, while Optimus Primal is in this thing here. Now remember, don't confuse Optimus Primal with Optimus Prime. Different character. Anyway, they do it. They're in this. He's in this pod, and he has contact. He has the first contact with the aliens. You see them show their face, and at first it looks like it's Unicron, because it looks like Unicron. It shows its face, but you find out it's just they had no physical form. They just scanned this form from his memory. That's how they appeared. Man, I really wanted to see something kind of, Unicron type thing. Anyway, so, he contacts them and they're talking, and apparently they've had several other screw-ups before, and they have told him that because of this, they must sterilize the project. They have ruined it. Everything must be destroyed. And, Optimus Prime pleads for them not to. They, of course, don't listen. They do it anyway. And one of the moons converts to a super weapon of sorts. And it starts beaming the planet with a destructive beam this time. No longer are they sending messages. Anyway, as they go to destroy the planet, as they're destroying the planet, the Predacons and Maximals are, they're doomed. But Optimus Primal was able to use eventually flew up there because he's the only one who could fly, and they had a stasis pod with him that was converted into a ship. And so he flies, and he's supposed to send this ship down the reactor of this planet, kind of Star Wars style. and he's supposed to, jettison out and fly back to Earth. But, Megatron was able to hack into his systems, and the latch wouldn't let go. So, here he goes down this reactor. He's going to die too, and he does. He does die. Like I said, they do die. We all die. I'm not well. Anyway, Anyway, he dies, and it sends the Maximals in a state of panic. Oops. I'm just messing up all over the board here. It sends the Maximals in a state of panic. Some of them have been incapacitated recently, such as Dinobot and Rhinox. These two guys have been incapacitated. This thing is a hair trigger. These two have been incapacitated lately. And then, as the thing explodes, it sends this, wavelength. Not wavelength. It sends this wave of energy, and it converts any original people here into, transmetals. So, Waspinator and Rhinox and Dinobot were unaffected because they were all in healing chambers. So, there's a running gag here in the Beast Wars series that Waspinator, he always gets beaten up, blown up. He has to constantly spend time in the CR chamber and all that. And Scorponok and Pterosaur, they fall down into lava and disintegrate. So this guy, he's still alive despite all the times he's gotten blown up. But these two guys are dead, and these two guys don't get transmetalized. And then Optimus Primal's dead. So there's that. And it doesn't affect Protoform. So Tigertron, Air Razor, Inferno, all of them, they're unaffected. There we go. So you don't see anything happen with them. Anyway. Everyone else gets all transmetal 2-dized, for lack of a better term. It's really cool looking. There are no immediate images, but they still look really cool. If I can find any, I'll point them out to you. Here you go. Here's an evolution of Megatron through the series. Anyway, so they're in a state of panic. Everyone has these new bodies. It's, wacko. No. It's crazy. So, the Predacons not skipping a beat. They still attack the Autobot base, knowing that they had suffered a major loss. Optimus Primal was their heavy hitter, and all of a sudden only 2 of them have been transmetal 2-dized, and then they have Megatron here, and they're going about. They're trying to survive. It's crazy. Eventually, Predacons retreat. And it's, they retreat, regroup. Tarantulas, he has a Transmetal 2 body. They meet up. Inferno, they meet up. And, they all meet up, regroup, except for the Maximals. Rhinox goes off into this deep stasis, and he's going to try to find the remains of Optimus Primal through the Matrix leadership, bring him back. And he does. And you get introduced to new characters. You get introduced to Silverbolt and Quickstrike, not to be confused with the original Silverbolt. These guys are Fusors. They were, because of the alien wave, all the stasis pods were all, they got all janky, and all of them started dying and all. These were only 2 of them that remained. Anyway, they're on the Predacon side. They fight. They're starting to pummel the Maximals. They're doing their best, and Dinobots finds out that the Earth now has one moon. Now, before he left because he thought there were two moons. He thought Megatron messed up, but there was one moon, which means this is Earth. This isn't some random energon-rich planet. This is Earth. So, what happened? This leads into the second kind of storyline. The aliens pretty much are done. And, Rhinox brings back Optimus. They still survive. Silverbolt joins the Maximals. And, everything got hunky-dory after that. But Dinobots left in a state of confusion. And, after they have several filler episodes, you get introduced into some new characters. Rampage, he was an experiment to try to replicate Starscream's indestructible spark. It went wrong. And then Megatron enslaved him now. And, so there's that guy. And you see Silverbolt and Black Arachnia, who is a Black Widow spider. Otherwise, she calls herself a bad girl. And Silverbolt is this chivalrous, heroic, knightly type hero bot. They're polar opposites. But they start to fall in love. And so there's this forbidden love on both sides. And you see them have several affairs. And throughout this, you get, like I said, you have your filler episodes, and you start getting back to the main storyline. Dinobot's left in a state of confusion. He eventually goes back to the Predacons for a brief time, try to figure out maybe these golden discs have a deeper meaning. What's going on here? And he does. Nothing happens. Megatron's about to, he steals the golden discs, by the way. Dinobot steals them from Megatron. He gives Megatron back the golden discs. He's trying to figure out what's going on. And, eventually, he still can't, fight the Maximals. He was once one of them, and he felt he was better as a Maximal. He realized that. And so he defected back to them. He's fickle. I will say that. And so he's defected back to the Maximals. They welcome him back. Everything's all hunky-dory. Of course, Rat Trap gives him a hard time. That he normally does. Rat Trap and Dinobot have always had a tough relationship. Here's an evolution of Optimus Primal, the series. Anyway, so, well, I guess this works. Let me zoom out here. Reposition. And there we go. And anyway, I'll continue talking. So, there's this forbidden love between them and all that, blah, 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 blah. And, Dinobot, he gets back into Maximals. Everything's all cool. So the Maximals, they welcome him back. Everything's fine. And there's this one episode that's my favorite. It's this super touching episode. You open up with, it's Dinobot. He's lost his way. He's dishonored himself. He's no longer a warrior. He's no longer honorable. He's lost everything. He's disgraced himself. He's disgraced the Maximals. He's a broken warrior. He has nothing left. And you see Megatron, doing what he was supposed to do. What he was meant to do. He goes and he finds out where the human race will emerge from this valley and all that. So he tries to destroy this valley place here. And Dinobot's the closest. The rest of the Maximals are far away. They wouldn't be able to make it in time. So he takes on the entire Decepticon force all on his own. All of them. There's no way he's going to survive. And so he still takes them on. He regains his honor by facing them. He's saving the human race. He's this big hero. He's regaining his honor. He's fighting his way back. He's just being a hero. And he destroys the golden discs and all, but it comes at a cost. During the battle, he sustained multiple fatal wounds. He wasn't able to, he couldn't sustain himself. He's just destroyed. And so finally the Maximals arrive, but everything's too late. The Predacons have been chased off, but he's dead. Well, dying, really. And he was able to regain his honor. They accepted him as if nothing had happened. He had a clean slate. They accepted him as one of their own, as a Maximal. He was never thought of anything else. He was an honored hero. Never was he ever looked down on. Even Rat Trap, despite all the difficulties they've had together, he still accepted him as a Maximal, a hero. He dies, and they gave him a warrior, an honored warrior send off. It was such a super cool episode. I loved it. You can see here, he had honor. Dinobot honor. It was just amazing. I loved it. I loved everything about it. It was such a super great episode. Anyway, that was that main storyline. And then later it picks up into something bigger, something better. Eventually, you pick up back onto Silverbolt and Black Arachne's relationship. They have secret meetings to do little leave to your interpretation, if you know what I mean. Anyway, so they have these secret meetings to do stuff. Anyway, they go and they find the Ark, the place where all dormant Decepticons and Autobots are. They find it, and it's big thing. It's crazy, and that's the next main storyline. Megatron finally trying to do what he was meant to do. He's trying to follow out his orders. So he goes and Megatron finds the Ark as well, and he tries to kill Optimus Prime, trying to make sure the Decepticons win. And he does. Optimus Prime sustains a fatal wound, but the Maximals were able to preserve his spark by transferring into Optimus. And as you can see here in this rendition, you see him going from Optimus Primal to Transmetal Optimus to this Optimal Optimus. His spark made him morph to this big super robot type guy. It's really cool. And he does. And they fight off. They save Optimus Prime. They're able to repair his body, and they transfer his spark back. Everything resumed as normal. Only with Optimus Prime now having a bigger, tougher, better body. this series you see more. You meet more characters such as Death Charge. There's all that. You see Megatron still trying to take over and get rid of the Ark. There's no more kind of really filler episodes now. It's kind of more like Megatron still trying to destroy the Ark. He fails, but he eventually stumbles across the Nemesis, and the Nemesis, the very ship that belonged to the Decepticons. And so he activates the Nemesis, and he's trying to find a way to... He activates it, and he's trying to get rid of the Maximals. He's trying to destroy the Ark. And, it sets some crap up. And you see multiple other characters die. And it's super, super cool. I forgot to mention, you see one other visit from the aliens. And it has to do with Tigertron and Airazor. They found an alien artifact, and the aliens beamed them up. And later, they find Megatron's messing with space-time and all that, how it's going to mess everything up, so they use Tigertron and Airazor's bodies. They form them together to create Tigerhawk, and they have this superhero type dude who's emissary of the Vok. That's what the aliens are, the Vok. Simple name. Anyway, you meet them. It's all kind of cool. Here he is. But not really much after that. In fact, nothing after that. Tigerhawk eventually gets the spark. He eventually regains his own consciousness again. He's his own guy, and the sparks of Airazor and Tigertron eventually go into him, and they form together. Now, I'll also leave that to your own interpretation of what that means. Anyway, after this, there is no other contact from the aliens. They last 2 more episodes because this is a two-parter, and several other characters die, such as Tigerhawk dies, Depth Charge dies, all Predacons, but not Black Arachnia. She eventually defected back to the Maximals because of her hunky Silverbolt. Here's an image of him right here. This guy. Dogface. Anyway, after that, she's safe, but all other Predacons die or are left on Earth. And, eventually they were able to take down the Nemesis. Megatron loses, they win, and then they're able to take him back to Cybertron, and they go. And that's it. That is pretty much what's happening. I'm not doing this. What's going on? Beast, no. This is no. I don't care. This computer's possessed. No. We're not going over this. No, please, no. No. We're not going over this. This is no.